Hi, Penny Lane here. In this next short video, I'm going to show you a really great feature in QuickBooks that will help you quickly import and edit all kinds of lists in QuickBooks. Check it out. If you have an item list that is not in an IIF format, a custom item list, something that you might have in Excel, or you're not able to import my item list template or any other IIF template, there's a great feature in QuickBooks that will help you add and edit lists either by copying and pasting from Excel or manually keying them in much faster than adding them one at a time from the list. That feature is called Add Edit Multiple List Entries. And you can access this by going to the Lists menu, Add Edit Multiple List Entries. You'll notice when the screen first comes up, it's always going to be on the customers list. And if you click this drop down, you can access vendors, service items, inventory parts, non-inventory parts, and inventory assemblies. These are the only lists that you can use the Add Edit Multiple List Entries screen for. Unfortunately, the chart of accounts is not one of them. Right now we're on the customer list, and notice also the view. The view right now is on active customers. We can also choose all customers, inactive, and unsaved. I use unsaved a lot because that way, if you're adding new information and you already have existing information on the list, you're not having to look at it and scroll to the bottom. So you can just add your new information here and click Save Changes. What I really want to talk about here is the item list. This is the most common thing that people might use this for. So let's talk about service items, for instance. If we click on the service items, we can see this view here. But you can customize these columns. This is not the default view that comes up. Mine is already customized. If you click on the Customize Columns button, you can add or take away information over here. If I wanted to have the cost as one of my columns, I could add it here, and I can also move it up in order. This is really helpful, particularly if you have a list that's formatted in a certain way and you want to copy and paste it from Excel. Let me show you some really cool things about this screen. Right now it's on active service items. So if I wanted to edit a bunch of items all at once, I could do that so easily from the screen. A good example would be sometimes people don't have their items mapped as two-sided items and they want to quickly correct that. You can do that here. If they weren't two-sided items, either the income or the expense account would be blank. Usually it's the expense account. And they might have in some cases an expense account on the construction income side or nothing over here. And then we could very quickly just add or edit the account that the item is mapped to here. We could add or edit the description, the sub items. It's so much faster to do this way than one item at a time. We can also manually key in a whole new list or copy and paste from Excel. First, I'll show you how to key in a list. If we choose the unsaved service items, it's kind of nice because we don't have to look at that whole list of things that we might already have. And a lot of times, particularly if I have a really large list to key in manually or copy and paste, I will do it in batches. And that's why the view is so nice here, because I can go ahead and I can add any item that I want, and keep in mind that I can't add a sub item if I don't have a parent item first. So if I'm entering a fresh list, I can just enter all the parent items first, then come back and add the sub items, or maybe one batch at a time. Add the parent item, save it, and then add the sub items. So here I'll just do this. I can type this in, or I can copy down. Even if I have 100 items here that I didn't put the income account for, if they're all going to be mapped to the same account, I can just copy down. And I could go through and add all of my items and then copy down at the end. This is just an example of manually keying in the list. I'll usually copy and paste the description, so I have a purchase and a sales description in my item, which I think is really important. And then I can save these items here. Notice that it said it saved my items, but they're still on the list. I just need to click back to all service items, then go back to unsaved, and I can then continue to add another batch of items. Another really cool thing is that if you do have a list in Excel, you can actually copy and paste the information. Now keep in mind that our item name, we want it to have the number, a space, and then a name. So if this is what your list looks like that you have in Excel, you can just copy it, click over here, and click paste. If I don't have all of the other information that I need, oh, this is red because I already added that one manually and saved it. But if I don't have all the information I need on my spreadsheet, then I can key it in here and even copy down. Oftentimes you can copy down the income account because they're all the same for your items usually, but the expense account you might need to add, one at a time if you have something that's labor versus something that's materials, etc. But if they're all the same, again, you can copy down, copy and paste your descriptions. You could even make the descriptions easier for you by working a little bit with your spreadsheet to have another column that didn't include the number. And there's a lot of ways that you can manipulate your Excel spreadsheet to show you just the information you want in a column. For example, just for one example, if you have something that looks like this, where your number is in one column and the name is in another column, you're not going to be able to copy and paste this. In Excel, you just create a third column, and then you create a formula that is equals concatenate then you can choose this column, comma, quote, space, quote, comma, and then the next column, and then hit enter. And that is what creates this, combines these two columns into one. Just an example. You could have, you could also do text to columns to pull out just the name and put that in another column, and then you could use that to copy and paste your descriptions. There's so many possibilities here. This is one of the best features that QuickBooks added over the years. As long as you have a version, I think it's 2011 or 2012 and later, you will have the edit multiple list entries function. In my next video, I'm going to talk a little bit about best practices for setting up customers and jobs.